Good morning, everyone. This is M4J Watt Replays, and this is episode 2 of Make Me Suffer. And today I am going to be driving the stock T95. And what I mean by stock is having all of the very first modules mounted on this tank. So the tier 6 engine, the very first tracks you get, and the 105mm gun. And before I get too far into this video, I want to say here that I have the Discord server invite in the description down below. So if you haven't joined the server yet and you have been looking for the link somewhere, then it's in that description. So be sure to check that out. But so now, we're driving the T95, aka the Doom Turtle. And right now, driving this thing is more of my doom than the enemy's. As you can see here, we are absolutely creeping along at 10-12 kilometers an hour, which makes us even slower than the TOG. When you've got all the top modules mounted on this thing, it'll go at about 16 kilometers an hour, which whenever you do get that top engine, that's going to be like a 33% speed increase, because we are absolutely slow. We're just crawling up this hill at like 4 or 5 kilometers an hour. It's just painful. Now, the 105mm gun that we have on this tank, surprisingly, I was surprised. It's not nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be. Granted, it only has 198mm of penetration, and that does limit you in the tier 10 games. But the main thing that I found so painful about this tank destroyer, grinding it for this video, was the fact that I just simply couldn't get to the fight in time. Every time I would get there, about a minute or even a minute and a half had already gone by, and I was simply there way too late to influence the battle. But this gun's actually not that bad. I mean, I wouldn't want to play it fighting tier 10s, but if you get the engine and the tracks first, the grind for this tank is going to be so much easier. But yeah, the stock gun, it's not that bad. I mean, penetration, yeah, it sounds terrible. 198mm. You can't penetrate any tier 10 heavy tank in the front, but when you do load that gold, you will be able to penetrate them. And with all the emils out there lately, you can't penetrate them in the turret anyway, but you still can get them in the hull. So I was pretty surprised when I was actually able to penetrate most of the tanks I came across. As you can see there, we obviously can't penetrate the Jagdpanzer E100 in the side with armor piercing, so we had to switch to the APCR, and I was literally losing credits every game. And it was a miracle if I could even do over 300 damage, simply because I was too slow to get there in time. But on the whole, making this video was way more painful than doing the one on the stock KV2. The stock KV2's issue was the gun was pretty bad, but at least it had, even if not great mobility, it still had the speed so it could get to a position and do some damage. And it did have pretty good HE pen, and at that tier, there are quite a few weak tanks you can actually penetrate. But using this, you are simply way too slow to get there in time. As you can see, we're just going at 8 kilometers up this hill on mines, and it's an all uphill drive, and it's already been 40 seconds past, and we're only halfway out of the spawn. So it's just absolutely painful. So we're going to be pushing up through here. Hopefully we can get to that ridge, and maybe our armor will be able to do something at the very least. Sadly, our VK72 drives out in front of me just when I'm trying to hit that T54E1, so we were unable to get that shot off. If that had happened, this would have been our highest damage game in this tank stock, like it is. But we're going to be pushing forward here. As you can see, again, we're just absolutely slow. We see that T54 over to the side, so I am going to be careful of him and keep him in mind whenever I want to push over this ridge. I do know there is a tank destroyer on the enemy team, although at the time I didn't know how many or what tank destroyers they were, because I wasn't really paying attention to the lineup. I was just trying to get there. So I had assumed it was like a grill or something. I was shooting at the back of the map in that bush where I would be, but then I see on the mini-map the Jagdpanzer E100 is the tank destroyer, and he is sitting over there to my right. So this T57 Heavy, he actually wants to push up. We do get a heat bounce there from him, so we're going to start pushing forwards, because I know I can take shots. I'm not too worried about that T-54. I know he only does about 310 damage, but he does have that DPM, so I do need to be careful. I can take a shot or two, but that's about it. So we do take a shot there from that T-34. We're able to put one into the T-57, a low roll, sadly. We're going to reload in time, put another one into the track of the Centurion, or not Centurion, Chieftain. See this T-54 starting to rush. We back up in time for our VK-72 to put a round into him. And now we're just going to ignore this T-54 and turn our attention to the T-57, but he doesn't want to know us, so we're going to have to keep pushing forward as we are. And our team, I have to say, our medium tanks, the Vickers Light and the T-22 medium, they weren't all that good. They wanted to run around to the heavy tank side and fight off the E-100, but they didn't even push them. They just sat there and tried to get them shots off. What they should have done is either rush him and come around behind these heavy tanks in front of me, or they should have come up behind me and taken the hill. Either way, they weren't that great, and sadly, we did lose this game pretty bad. But we've blocked 2,000 damage. We've done 1,200 something, or 1,222, it looks like. And we're going to be able to reload in time to get one more round into that Centurion's turret before he takes us down. Why do I keep saying Centurion? Chieftain. But 1,500 damage, just shy of 1,600, and we blocked 2,000. Again, it's pretty bad results, but stock Doom Turtle, what do you can't really say much. Fortunately, while I was doing this, my team and the enemy team, they were usually pretty sympathetic. If we had like an FV 4005 or just pretty much any either of the British tier 10 heavy tanks or the tier 10 tank destroyer, the FV 4005, they would get up behind me and activate that super speed boost, and I would be absolutely flying in comparison to what I'm currently doing. So I was going from like 12 kilometers an hour to 18 and even 20 at one point. So that was like, what was it? An amazing 50% speed increase. So I was really excited that I was actually going that speed. Sadly, it didn't last for long because the FVs would usually move out, but still, fair play to them. They were being a very good team player, and so, of course, I gave them a thumbs up for that. And I also have to give a shout out to Codus Maximus. He decided to platoon with me, even with the stock Doom Turtle, with his IS-8, and he was assisting in that push a little bit as best as he could. But so, we're here. We've got that another Chieftain Mark 6 Royal coming out behind me. This was actually my first game in this tank stock. So I wasn't quite sure what to do. Our team, another bad matchup. It always seems I always get the bad matchups when I'm playing these videos. But they have rushed based A. They are not paying any attention to these flankers, and they're just tunnel visioning the two TDs over at the enemy spawn. So even the bat chat on the enemy team is calling my team morons and saying thanks for the win. That is how bad they truly are. But so we're going to turn over here to the Sheridan, trying to aim properly. Do manage to put a round into him. Sadly, he goes up behind that building. It's a 4 versus 7, now a 4 versus 6. But again, our team just has not been doing anything. And there was that bat chat saying thanks for the win. But here comes the Chieftain Mark 6. We're going to put it around into his lower plate, and now we're just going to focus on him. If any of the light tanks come up behind me, there's nothing I can do. So I'm just going to ignore them, and I'm going to start pushing this Chieftain Mark 6. Now, he is shooting the Hesh at us, that high-pin HE that he has. But he's going for our track. He's not trying to actually damage us. He's just trying to take our track off. So we turn around, we take his track off instead. But I don't know why he's just stopping there rather than completely rush us. But he's just sitting there trying to take our track off and giving us loads of blocked damage. So we're going to fix our track. We turn to him, put another round into his lower plate, and then the Grill 15 comes up behind him, and it just leaves me versus 5 tanks. What can a stock Doom Turtle do against this? So we fire there. The Grill 15 sees the chance. He's going to rush up behind us. He fires there. Fortunately for me, he misses. But no, the Chieftain takes our tracks off, and we are unable to move, turning our gun towards him. And now we're just going to be permatrack. The Grill 15 hits us with an HE round in the back. And this is just absolute horror. The Chieftain's still shooting my track, not letting me move. I finally get it fixed, just barely start to turn, and the Grill 15 kills me, just waiting for me to start to move to do that. So cruel indeed. But a pretty good game. Blocked over 4,000 damage thanks to that Chieftain. 1,569 damage. Nothing special, but did you see that on our team? We were second place in a stock Doom Turtle, and our team did nothing. So, next up, I decided I was going to play the Doom Turtle fully upgraded after having that miserable 25 battles with the stock gun. Because whenever I make these videos, I do 25 battles in the stock tank, and I pick the best 3 games that I had. And usually all of the 25 games are losses, with the exception of maybe 5. But so we're mounting the fully upgraded, and as you can see, we're absolutely zooming to base A by comparison, giving us that extra 33% speed increase I was talking about from 12 to 16 kilometers an hour. I am not using the mega speed boost or whatever you want to call it. I didn't have the credits after that, after having recently bought the Sheridan and also going through those painful 25 battles where I lost the majority of my credits from having to shoot APCR. But I see this VK72 there. I know he's a good player because he's from that Nitro clan. I tried to get around into his turret cheeks. Sadly, it bounced off. So I'm going to start pushing up here and use this building. And what is this? Another team that doesn't fully know what they're doing. It looks like our heavy tanks have gone to base C and B, and they actually captured base B. Now, fair play to them. They were doing pretty good, but at the same time, they're not doing anything now. They're just going to be sitting there. I have no idea what they're doing, but we managed to put a shot into that E50 there. I'm just going to sit out here, angle like this. This is one thing I love about the Doom Turtle. If you come out at about this angle, your tracks are not part of your hitbox. So if you get hit on those tracks, just side on in the very front, below the gun mantlet, you're not going to receive any damage. They might break your tracks, but you're not going to take any damage at all because your tank is further back. Your tracks stick out past the tank, and you can really bait shots on the noobs that don't know that. So I see the T57 Heavy there. I'm going to drive behind this building so I don't take any more shots from him. Put a round into the back of this VK72, and as you can see, my 2 heavy tanks behind me simply being way too slow to do anything. The Kranvalgen, it's really not good for the job he was using it for. He should have been up front line because he really just doesn't have the DPM to be able to clear a heavy tank that turned around and focused him. But we managed to put another round to that VK72, abysmal 2,000 damage and 1 kill. But again, second place on our team, and fair play to that Grill 15. He actually did pretty good, and to the VK72 as well from the Nitro clan. But that is all for today, folks. If you somehow enjoyed me suffering through this painful video, then please leave a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and that will be all. This is M4J Watt Replays, over and out.